Hey everybody. First off, I want to thank Tide We for paying for the show. If you need a pair of boots, a pair of waders, a new backpack, some hunting rain gear, look them up. They got some good stuff. I think just about everyone has one of these. Grunt call. Most people, I think, abuse them. They use them way, way, way too much. With that said, there are times when it can be a very useful tool. But I think blind calling probably is not the best thing to do. If anybody blind calls a lot, they'll probably tell you I'm wrong, because they've killed a deer or two blind calling. But they've probably spooked a lot more deer than they know about. I've seen deer, when you grunt at them, turn around and run. I've seen deer completely ignore you. I've seen them turn around and sneak out with their tail tucked between their legs. So then why would you want to use a grunt call, right? Well, there is a time to use it, and that's when you see an animal or you hear an animal, and it's obviously not going to come to you. I call it a desperation call, because it's like your last chance. There he goes, he's going right by, he's out of range. Oh, here he comes, or oh, there he goes. But if he does take off, or if it does spook him a little bit, hey, what'd you have to lose? He wasn't coming in, right? So with that said, I've had some action with grunt calls quite a bit. And like I said, I've had some bad experiences too. One thing I see is those bucks love to circle downwind. And if you watch close, a lot of times they come to a point where they're close, but not quite there, and they're facing you because they know where the sound came from. And then they just stop and they look. Wait a second here. Where's this buck I heard? I don't see him. Something ain't right. And they're on edge. They're walking into a fight with an unknown deer. Unknown buck. So they're coming in on pins and needles. You move a little, they're going to catch you. You make a sound, they're going to catch you. But that call just got them to come in, right? So that's half the battle. Now you just have to get an arrow in them while they're on edge. A lot of times, your first grunt or two won't catch the deer's attention. You go like this. The deer just keeps walking, moving around, feeding. And you're like, what the heck? Pretty good chance he didn't hear you. Turn up the volume. When he hears you, don't grunt at him when he's looking at you. Their ears are so in tune that if you grunt at him when he's looking in your direction, he's going to look right up and pin you in the tree. If he looks your way and he stares, and they do this a lot, and he's like looking, then he goes back around to walk off. Wait till he turns his head and he goes to walk off and hit him again. He'll stop again, he'll look back again and be like, what the heck? That's usually the turning point. Either they come in or they move off. Sometimes you hit the real aggressive ones and they just come charging in. When they come in, a lot of times they'll get to a point where they walk up into the area and they can see. They're facing you, you ain't got no shot. And they're looking. I heard a buck. Where's the buck? I don't see the buck. And he's on pins and needles. Because not only is he coming into an unknown buck here, but it could be a bigger buck, might be a smaller buck. You don't know. You don't know what he's coming into. So, and you don't know where it's at. And now he's getting a little nervous because, wait a second, you know, I definitely heard a deer talking in here, and I don't see him. This is kind of suspicious. But a lot of times they go into a grunt, a real grunt, and they run into some giant buck, and then they got to run tail. So they're on pins and needles. They might drop the string when you shoot. They're definitely going to catch movements easier. They're going to be looking around easier. They're going to be listening intent. Make a little squeak, they're going to look at you. Move a little too fast, they're going to look at you. So let's take a look at a couple hunts where I successfully called in a buck to my grunts. In this hunt, the buck's coming down through a river bottom, and I can see him from the tree stand. He starts working a scrape, and I call and he doesn't respond, so I call again, and pretty soon I get a reaction where he kind of stops, and then as soon as he ain't looking, I hit the call again, and he just comes running.
I think that buck would have probably went about 130, 135. It's getting pretty late in the week and I'm running out of time. I was tempted to shoot him. I even drew on him, but decided not to. He was working a scrape down below us, and he was walking off, and at that point I wasn't sure if I wanted to shoot him or not. So I brought out the old desperation call and gave him 2 grunts, which he hesitated to listen to, kind of ignored. Then I gave him a doe bleat, a grunt, and a doe bleat, and he turned around and just charged in. I'm not sure if I caught that on film or not. You can probably hear him running though, at least. I had him at 10 yards down here. He spotted me in the tree. This morning I got in here and the wind kind of shifted and was blowing in the wrong area. And some does came in and busted me. right after daylight. So I could set up this stand and sticks in probably 10 minutes taking down and setting up. So I jumped down, moved over, reset up, and that buck came in from directly downwind. So if I wouldn't have did that, I'd never even seen him. Came in from downwind in my first setup.
Notice how as soon as he crests the hill and he can see, he stops. It's pretty common. He's going to scan around. Where's this buck I heard? Where is he? Also take note how he swung around to the downwind side of the tree. He didn't come straight in. He semicircled me to the downwind side. Let's take a look at another buck I grunted in.
I'm bow hunting during the gun season, so I have to wear orange. I went to a remote area. I'm back about probably close to 2 miles in a swamp. I don't think anybody's hunted back here in a while.
In this hunt, I was set up over a bedding area and I was expecting the bucks to come straight in at me. I hear some deer get up and they move around me. And they stay in the swamp on a parallel trail and they don't come out to the usual staging area where the scrapes were and stuff. Then I hear the two bucks start fighting and sparring. Once I heard that sparring, I knew they were bucks. So I gave a grunt call. I knew where they were. I knew they weren't coming in. I knew they were going past. I knew what trail they were on. And my only chance to turn them around was right here.
Well, he put on quite of a show, didn't he? The shot looked really good, but I still hear him moving.
I don't know how well you can see him. It's starting to get dark. For whatever reason, we didn't have any blood trail. We just started searching and searching and searching, trying to pick up blood because the shot looked really good. But I stumbled on him. You know, I just found him looking for blood. He didn't get very far. We're only not even 100 yards from the stand, I don't think. But he's got nice tall tines. But we are probably close to 2 miles back right now, and it's getting dark, and we got
Yeah.
stands and sticks and everything else. What do you think? 2 miles?
Yeah, at least we got a nice little walk.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's going to be a trek getting out of here. But Mario's glad I got this because now he's got this area to himself. And there's a pretty good one running around. A couple good ones.
yeah.
Yeah, cool.
All right.
On that hunt, did you notice? He came right in and just worked over a tree when he got to the point where he knew he was close to the grunts. And then, when he gets done with the tree, he comes walking to the opening and stops. And from my advantage, I could see that holy crap look like, wait a second here, there ain't no deer here. I just pulled him away from a buck. Now he walks to this opening and, wait a second, there ain't no deer here. Something's going on. I had a little shot window, so I took it. Now, not all grunt calls are created equal. There's a lot of crap ones out there. If you just go to the local Walmart or Kmart and just buy yourself a grunt call, you might be doing yourself more harm than good. There's two I really like. One's Rod Benson, and the other is the True Talker. I specifically prefer the True Talker. I think this one has the best tone. And when I blow it, I like to do this. Cup my hands around the bottom here, and it gets a good back echo, and it sounds pretty real from what I've heard of deer grunting. Now again, start out like that. And if that buck doesn't pay you no attention, just give him one loud one and get his attention, and then shut up, and then don't do another loud one because now he's listening. And when he turns to leave, hit him again with a regular grunt. So a loud grunt would be, and just get him to like shock and look for you. A reaction so you know he heard you. And then at that point, not when he's looking at you, when he looks away, never grunt when they're looking at you. Hope you enjoyed the show. Now I gotta go get to work on some new beast stands everybody's looking for.